Embracing the Family Dairy Legacy, Stories, Intuition, and Intellect. Today we have Karen Pierik from Pleasant Hill Farms in Central Alberta. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is a great little series that we're going to have just talking to different producers across the country. So we appreciate you joining us. Who are you? Where's your farm located? And what's the primary focus of your operation?
So I am Karen Pierik. I am a dairy farm in Central Alberta, and we love our cows.
And you have, is it 400 milking cows?
Yeah, approximately. Yeah.
Okay, so you're second generation. Can you share some insights into the generational nature of this farm? What significance does this mean to you? And feel free to discuss any contributions of the previous generations and your vision in the future, Karen.
Yeah, so on my husband's side and my side, all our grandparents were all dairy farmers. So it's kind of been a lifelong legacy of dairy farming, but it really means something. It's not just a job to us, it's a way of life. It's something our family has always done, and we take really pride in producing a great quality product that's feeding Canadians.
So for the way of life, like how much, give me a little insight on.
So my husband was raised on the farm that we are currently. So he grew up seeing the work and the effort and all the details that go into milking a cow. Sometimes people say milking a cow, it just seems so easy. You just milk it and go. But there's a lot of components that you have to do. You have to take care of your animals. You have to make sure they have nutritious feed. You need to be monitoring them all the time, checking that they have clean drinking water. And the work of getting up at 4:30 in the morning and making sure that your animals get fed before you guys get inside for breakfast at 9:30, there's a passion to make that happen.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the history before we get to your journey. So 1994, your husband's parents came from the Netherlands,
Yes.
and
So
then
1994, my husband's parents came from the Netherlands. They moved north of the location where we're at now, and were operating a farm that they purchased. But they knew that that wasn't going to be their farm that they created the legacy with. They wanted something that they created on their own, with their own designs and their own visions for the future. So in 1997 or 1996, 1997, they were able to purchase 2 quarters of land south and where we're at right now, and they started building the barns. So when they first built the barns, we were milking about 40 cows, 40 to 50 cows. And every year they worked hard and they expanded and they grew. And my husband Henk grew up and they made it to what it is now.
in 2000 you added milk meters, and then you added another barn in 2009.
Yeah,
So
so kind of the big expansion was in 1996, 97, things were set up. And then in about 2003, there was another big addition where the barn doubled in size. Then there was another big addition in 2008 for more milk cow and dry cow space. In 2015 was probably the largest expansion we've done up to this point, where we switched over from a double 8 parallel parlor to a De Laval rotary, a 44 external stall. And then in 2019, we built an extra dry cow facility. And in 2021, 2022, kind of over the winter, we ended up building another expansion onto the dry cow facility.
So Karen, what about your personal journey? Because I know from a legacy perspective, there's a culture that people follow and love the dairy farm. But what about your journey that makes it unique?
So I grew up that both of my grandparents were dairy farmers. We would visit them all the time. The one lived about a mile and a half away from us, so we would bike to their place all the time. But me and my cousin always made the joke, we will not ever marry dairy farmers or be a dairy farmer, because we saw all the work that it took and all the time and the sacrifices to make sure that your animals were taken care of. So we said that was not going to happen. But I grew up with an aunt who was a veterinarian. And so I actually started working for her when I was about 12 years old in the vet clinic doing little tasks. And I developed over the years into larger tasks. And I actually would go with her when she was checking cows at my husband Hank's farm. So when I was a little kid, I was actually at Hank's farm, but I didn't like him and he didn't like me. And I liked doing the vet and he liked doing the cow stuff. So we continued on until 2008. When I was 15 years old, I ended up actually meeting him again. And we ended up that our first date we went out, and our second date I ended up in the barn doing chores with him because he couldn't take time off. So ever since then, we have been working together, farming together, and we just love it.
Well, so it all began in the dairy barn and continues through.
Yeah.
Now, what type of farm do you have? Have you embraced technology, and what's the culture?
So I guess I am a little bit of a younger dairy farm, you could say. So I really do like technology. One thing that I really love is we have the Need app activity monitor. So they tell rumination, activity, inactivity, and eating time. And so I'm a mom of 4 busy kids. I'm a wife and I'm a dairy farmer, and I have a lot of other things going on my plate. I cannot be checking every cow every single minute. But this monitoring system allows it to actually track what's happening with each individual cow. So when I go into the barn and I'm working with the cows multiple times throughout the day, I can check this monitoring system and it can give me a good idea of where my cows are at and who needs the most attention so I can prioritize which cows I'm going to treat first.
So you're using technology to help accelerate efficiency and maximize your time.
Yep.
And the culture, is there a culture or just
Oh,
work
yeah.
hard
So
on what you do?
we have a great company culture. We have it being the size that we are, we have family working with us, we have employees working with us, and then we have our 4 boys working with us. And we always say, like, we're doing a lot of hours and we're doing a lot of hard work, but if you're not having fun, what's the point? So we try to always have a positive attitude, and really the idea of always making sure we're improving and getting better, because life, it doesn't stay the same. The world isn't constant, it's always changing, and we want to be able to keep up and stay ahead.
So what about adversity that drove success? So I find sometimes when you face adversity, you use that to drive success. Is there anything you've learned through that journey?
Well, I think, yeah, like you said, in life isn't a straight path straight to the end, right? It's got its ups and it's got its downs. And I think you just ride it, you grab it and you ride it, right? And so when it's down, you put your head down and you make it happen. I know we've had times with staff shortages, or you have difficulties where you'll have a virus that comes through the barn that there's nothing that you can do, right? But when you step it up and you work together as a team, it's amazing the feeling that you get when you pull out of that.
So what about feed and vision? Do you have a nutritional focus on the farm, and what's your vision concerning the feed aspect of your operation?
Yeah, so we feed with a company, Nutrisource. They're our advisors, and we really enjoy working with them. We have found that we have just been doing phenomenal working with our nutritionist, Jeff. Together, we partner that we're in constant communication. We have access to him pretty much 24/7, and he helps us make sure we test our feed, we grow all our own forages, and we make sure that we're creating high value forages and feeding the right forages to the right animals at the right time with the balance that they need.
So you guys have alfalfa, barley, corn, and some canola in rotation?
No canola anymore. So we
Okay.
do all corn, barley, and alfalfa.
Now with feed to herd health, what's going on with the health status?
So I actually used to be a nurse. Fun fact is I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. And I worked as a nurse for many years, kind of part-time while I was doing dairy farming. And I realized at one point in my life that I have 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. And I needed to pick what my priority was. And my priority was being a dairy farmer and being with my family and raising them on the farm. And I took that jump and I love it. But I also love that I did get that nursing background because I can use everything that we did in the hospital and apply it to our cattle. So my background of medical knowledge has significantly helped me in saying, hey, I understand the pathophysiology of this certain disease or this treatment model. And working with the vet, we have an amazing vet from Gulick Veterinarian Services, Dennis, and he's just been a joy to work with. It means that we can stay on top of the latest treatments and make sure our animals get the best care.
And is that more beneficial when you see something wrong that you have a knowledge, or is it being proactive and preventative measures?
So we're super proactive. Everything is about proactive. You have that triangle and it says $1 of putting into money of proactiveness for something that's proactive essentially saves you $100 down the road if you have to treat it. So we're very proactive in saying, how can we create animals that are the healthiest and the happiest so that if they get a minor flu bug, that they can just pass right through it.
What about future plans and vision? Is there a plan to expand, keep the generational farm going, sell your own milk? What's on the agenda, Karen?
So we are always about expansion and we're always about change. So we always want to keep up. I think back to 50 years ago when my grandparents started farming in Canada, the differences between then and what they say about it compared to now is huge. And I'm super excited for the future. We do have 4 farm boys that are rowdy and love the farm. They're 10, 8, 6, and 4 right now. And I don't know if they want to be farmers, but I do know that if that's a choice that they make, we'd love to support them in it. But we have always said that the most important thing is that you have a passion at what you're doing and you work hard at it. And so if they decide that they're passionate and this is a dream for them, I'd love it if they continue on the legacy.
Well, Karen Pierik from Pleasant Hill Farms, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.